Welcome to part 1 of our NiceForm series. In this demonstration, we're going to show you an introduction to the NiceForm interface. Specifically, we will review the toolbars that you're going to be using during the creation of your form, as well as create a simple form with a few objects to show how to use inside of your application. And then we're going to review some key points on object and form properties. It's important to realize that each object has a set of properties that allows you to control every aspect of how that object works within your application. Now, as far as the toolbars go, we've got a couple of different toolbars here that you can use throughout your application development. On the left-hand side, we have our object toolbar, and simply put, the object toolbar on the left-hand side is going to be used to insert objects into your application. These could be data entry objects, it could be buttons, it could be an object that shows a list of something. Whatever the case may be, this is going to be the toolbar that allows you to start building your form. Now, as far as the top toolbar goes, because this is the whole Nice Label product family is considered built on a standard Windows application type platform, you have your standard file toolbar, edit, view. Some of these buttons up here are specific to form. You have a tools menu for looking at the options and so on. The second toolbar, again, standard Windows buttons, but more importantly, what's actually inside of this toolbar is this run button. When you're designing your form, you have the ability, again, it is a designer, so you're moving objects around and you're kind of seeing how they all fit, but actually to see how the program is going to look and feel in a runtime environment, this button will run the form in the runtime environment. So if you have experience developing applications, this is just like compiling your form to run it to see how your logic or how your buttons and actions and things like that will work out. And then the third toolbar here is just your fonts, font size, bold, italic, underline, some specific colors, some alignment options, so taking multiple objects and aligning them together, as well as layering within your program. Now, as far as creating a form, we have two ways to create a form. I won't review them in detail today, but I will explain what they are. The new form wizard will walk you through a step-by-step process on how to create a form from an existing label template. It provides a preview, all in data entry objects, things like that. A blank form is typically for more advanced users, people who have experience making forms and know exactly what they want. You can see it's a blank palette. You can start creating your application. Now, as far as starting to build your form, it's also important to know that everything that you're going to work with inside of your application is going to be based on variables. So to actually insert a variable or make a database connection or make a connection to a serial port device for bringing in data to a variable, that would be under the data menu. And I'm just going to make a simple variable called test. It's 10 characters long. I'm going to press OK. And then because I'm also going to be showing a memo field, which is a multi-line box, I'm going to make a variable called memo test, and I'm going to make it 500 characters long. Press OK, so you can see I have two variables ready to be used inside of my form. Now, actually working with objects, there are some fairly common objects that everybody's going to use, and then there are some not so common objects that are more specific to an application. So you can see we've got text objects, pictures, things like that. More common is going to be a fixed text object. So if I just click on this box right here, you could see my pointer has an A next to it, and I'm going to say enter name, and that will be the label that I will use for my input box, which is going to be an edit field. So when I choose this edit field, I want to link this to a variable. So if I select use existing variable, I can choose test, and you can see I have the ability to control how long this will be. Again, we'll get into more of these detailed explanations as we go through all of these demonstrations, but just to give you an introduction as to how objects will be used and how you can use them inside of your form. The last thing I'll show you here is just a memo field. A memo field is something that shows it's a word wrapping object. So if I were to not save this but run this form, you can see that when I run the form in the runtime environment, it's not the designer, so I don't have the ability to move things around. So testing is going to be my name, and then you could see as I enter in data, because this is a 500 character long object, it's word wrapping for me. I can make a carriage return, type in data, carriage return, type in data, etc. The last thing I wanted to talk about inside of this interface is showing a list, and there's multiple ways to show a list. There's a list box, we call it a combo box, which is a drop-down box, a radio group, and these three things allow you to create a list. And so if I were to insert using the variable test, and you can have multiple objects connected to a single variable. So if I inserted a drop-down box, if I right-click and choose properties, this actually gets into the last point I want to make in this demonstration, which is everything has properties, whether it be data, where it's going to get its data from, the values that are going to be used, the styling of the box, some advanced options for advanced actions and things like that. Everything has a property, and that goes for anything in NiceLabel. Everything has a property. So this is a combo box that's going to show a list. So if I go to the Values tab and choose Edit, I can set up what I want my list to show. So one of the demonstrations we're going to have is how to link a combo box to a printer selection so that when you print, you can select your printer. This is a very easy way of doing it. In this case, I'm just going to have a custom value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I press OK and press OK again. And I'm not going to save it, I'm just going to run it. And because I have two objects connected to the same variable, what you're going to see is as I select a combo box object here, a data element in here, it changes this link here. So variables, again, they play a major role in how the data gets to the label for printing, but also they play a major role in how your form is going to interact with each other. The same thing as far as showing a list goes. I could make a list box that does the same exact thing. So if I go into the values here, hit edit, and I type in A, B, C, D, E, F, press OK, press OK. If I run it, you can see again I have a list here. So very common objects. Again, I just wanted to show an introduction to the interface and how you can use objects, and how those properties of each object can affect how that object is used inside your form. This concludes part 1 of our NiceForm demonstration. Again, all future demonstrations are going to focus on more specific features and functionality of the NiceForm application design tool.